Hey, group sales pros, are you feeling overwhelmed or just out of control with your sales process? Then I think you're going to like this interview. The aggressive hospitality and Teresa Winfield is here to answer some burning questions on the topic of maximizing group sales revenue by avoiding dead end leads. Teresa, so nice to see you. It's been a long time. How are you doing?
Great. It's good to see you too.
Thank you. Hey, appreciate being on the InnSync Show. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're at?
Yeah, I'm in Seattle, Washington, at the Pan Pacific Seattle. We are the only Pan Pacific in the United States, and we're right in the heart of South Lake Union, which is very close to the Amazon campus. And I've been doing this for a little longer than I want to admit. Group sales, corporate group is really what I do. Although since I've been here, I've been doing entertainment.
Oh, nice.
And I'm loving it because we're so close to a lot of music venues, Private Village Arena being one of them. So now I'm doing a lot of entertainment, which is really cool.
Awesome. I love it. I've had the pleasure of meeting you during your tenure at Benchmark. I've always loved your energy and I love. I think you had mentioned on part of your LinkedIn, you said aggressive hospitalier or hotelier, which really caught my attention, which gave me the impression this is you're the perfect person to talk about the sales prospect or process. And I had some questions that I wanted to review with you. So can you give us just a little bit of a context of right now, where are your variety of lead sources coming from right now?
Most of the leads are coming from, different channels like Cvent, online on the website. I can tell you very few leads are coming in via phone. The phone is not ringing, but online it's very active.
Fantastic. Of all the different channels, and I'm assuming a mixture of things, do you also receive quite a few RFP? You're in the city, so I'm assuming you're part of an RFP process citywide. Yeah. Okay.
Citywides, we're close to the convention center. We have a brand new convention center that we're close to. It's a high-rise convention center, and so we're close to that as well.
Okay.
Although we're a smaller property, we only have 153 rooms, so we're not part of the big, hotels that are right close to there. But we are definitely kind of a nice independent alternative to those big.
Got it.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Of all the various sources that you just described, obviously it sounds like inbound calls are not necessarily a factor that much anymore. But where's your very best source of leads coming from right now?
Well, a lot of best source of leads are really coming from third parties, like your Helms Briscoe, Carlson Wagonly, Merritt's. Most of them are using the Cvent platform. Although some have their own platform, but a lot are using Cvent to send their leads through. I would say, whereas pre-pandemic, maybe a majority of those leads were direct from the planner, from the business. Now I would say 90% are from third-party planners.
Gotcha. Now, do you treat those leads equally? Like, do you put more weight on, say, an RFP lead versus maybe even a direct inquiry from your website?
Well, direct inquiry from the website is always very important, just because they've been on our website and they've looked and they've liked what they saw. So of course those are going to get immediate attention. Although the other leads coming in, they're just as important, and I book just as many through that platform as well. But a lot of times it's just depending on if Seattle is just one of the cities they're looking at, or they're looking at several other cities. Then you have to treat the lead a little different. You kind of need to sell the destination a little more than if they're already coming to Seattle and that's their only focus.
Gotcha.
And a lot of times you really do need to help that third party planner sell that city, especially if you're not from here.
Ah,
And
gotcha.
really, just lay on those attributes that Seattle has to offer,
Right.
and what your hotel has to offer as well.
Gotcha. So I get the impression that the direct calls or direct inquiries from the website, they've already made a choice on destination. Now they've narrowed it down to maybe a handful of properties.
Right.
And would it be also safe to say it's not at that point, it's not always going to be about price, where an RFP might be more price sensitive? Would that be a safe assumption?
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're not able to really talk to the end user and they're really going to be looking at a spreadsheet and comparing that with, any chance that you can make comments on that RFP is going to be very important to differentiate yourself. Adding on, attachments. One big one that I always add on is just a property map showing all the services around our property, because we're in a really cool part of downtown where it's residential and businesses. So we have a lot of services 7 days a week that maybe downtown core doesn't have, because it's more of a financial district and it's not as much about like a neighborhood is where we are.
Okay.
I definitely still have to differentiate myself from other downtown locations. And sometimes that's a little harder if you don't have the end user in front of you. You have to kind of, send that through a middle person who may not know Seattle, may know Seattle. I'm finding a lot of the, before the pandemic, the third party planners were from Seattle that were handling leads. Now they're from everywhere. So sometimes the planner might not even be familiar with the city.
Really good point. I ran this question by one of our clients. They seem to they're experiencing a lot more top level inquiries from people that may not even planned a meeting before. They're not necessarily meeting plan. Okay,
Oh yeah, okay. Absolutely.
Now, do you see that trend? Was that a result of the pandemic? Did you see that trend even before the pandemic, or have you seen that? Was that a result now that more people are just wearing a lot more hats because the staff's reduced, or the case?
Oh yeah, I definitely think that. I mean, third-party planners, they are so important right now to all of us, because they're professional and they know what they're doing. And I find that a lot of them are actually assisting the client all the way through the contract process, which for us is actually amazing.
Wow.
Because to have a professional third-party planner, actually, sometimes they use it just source and that's it. And then now they're really helping that client through. And that's so incredible for us, because, we've got a lot of hats that we're wearing right now too.
Absolutely.
So they're just right now, with just how business levels are, and sometimes they're just crazy busy and then you'll get a lull and then crazy busy. Our Helms Briscoe conference direct, all of those planners, they're so really just so important to us right now, because they're really helping move the business along and maybe answer some of those questions that they can answer. So it's been amazing just having that support.
Sure. And I'm assuming that underscores the importance of those relationships. I'm assuming,
Absolutely.
Right? You've had those long-term relationships with the Helms Briscoes and the third.
Oh yeah, especially the ones who've been here a really long time. I've known for a long time, and we're all really busy in different ways and being pulled in different directions, and so we just understand each other probably better than ever now, and we are just in this together. We're giving each other grace when we might make a mistake. Because we're all just trying to get through each week.
Right.
And trying to get through each week unscathed. So our planners, our third-party planners, are just really in this with us and helping us educate, the clients who maybe haven't ever planned a meeting. It's so important.
Now, how about the situation? And we've seen this circumstance come up quite a bit. Is we'll see the admin or even an office manager reach out directly to the hotel and simply have a couple questions like, "Hey, do you have availability third week in April? I had some questions about pricing." And then at the third line, it's like, "I really need help. I've never done this before," type of thing. And they're not even using a planner. They're coming directly to the hotel. So I'm assuming that scenario, because they need a lot of hand holding versus the third party planner. So you address that a little bit differently. Would that be?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Absolutely. And if it does make sense that they have help from a planner, you know, and I know that planner, I'm going to help them with that because, you know, if they are looking at other places and, you know, especially if I do have Amazon clients, especially who are not really sure. I know the Helms Briscoe planners who work direct with Amazon, Jim's team, and they're happy to help them. And I'm happy to give them the commission to help them, because they know really what the Amazon agreement states, and they know that. And I know as well that sometimes it's easier maybe for the client to be taught that from somebody, you know, besides the hotelier. But I would say, you know, utilizing a third-party planner, especially for someone who's never planned a meeting, is probably a really good idea.
Well, you brought up a really good question because I've never asked this question before. What happens if an administrative assistant reached out to you directly, didn't even know that there was a planner? Would you say, hey, you might need some help? Would you ever feel in a situation where you would refer them to a planner, or do you think you could do it in-house type of thing?
Yeah, I mean, normally, you know, I'll do it in-house and I'll help them along. But like I said, if it is a certain company that I know has third-party planners that works direct with that company and knows their master agreements, then I will, and I have absolutely connected them. And even though that person may have gone to me first, and then I get the information and I loop in that third-party planner, I'm happy to give that planner commission.
Okay, because you know it's going to go smoothly.
Yeah, I know it's going to go smooth for both ends, and you know, that planner has value for me and the client. They really do.
Fantastic. With that question I brought out in terms of being overwhelmed, right? So in your being in the trenches for so long, it's so helpful to get these insights and these tips on how to manage the entire process. So when you've been inundated with a flurry of inquiries, and you've got RFPs, you've got direct website form fills, you've got other things coming in, how can you take a look at all of these opportunities, lay it on the table, and go, these look great. These may not necessarily look as bookable or as closable as. How can you early take a quick look at that and assess one lead over the next?
Well, the biggest thing I look at is obviously when they're coming in. You know, if they're coming in really fast, you know, maybe 30 days out, you know, that needs to be looked at immediately. But other than that, I'll look at due dates when they're gonna, you know, when the RP is due. You know, when I first started out, I was like, every RP, I just want to like answer it in that same day it came in. But,
right.
Then you just burn out, and you know, that's not fun for anyone. So, you know, I spread them out. I always put action items on my calendar, so I'm not overwhelmed. So, you know, I look at a lead when it's due, put it on the calendar. If I can answer it earlier than when I put it on, great. But if I can just take it all and put it in a manual way where I can, you know, it's not overwhelming. A lot of times it really isn't as overwhelming as it looks, especially when you have different, you know, due dates and you have a couple days to answer this one. This one's today, that one's tomorrow. And then, you know, you just set aside time to just really go over those leads and be able to thoughtfully answer them and put in your own personality and comments that will help that client, you know, decipher between different properties on a spreadsheet. You know, answering them really fast is not really a good, you know, a good idea. It's, you know, you devote that time, and especially during these times, it's just breathe and just let people know when you need to be left alone to get your work done.
Right. Exactly.
There's a nice saying. It's called "bitches get stuff done." You know,
I love it.
You have to be like, "Hi," you know. I know, and people are so social, and they're also the ones that everyone gravitates to. But we also have to get shit done.
I love
I
it.
mean, here, sometimes I'll just go off into a boardroom that isn't being used and just set up shop in there for a couple hours, and it's just quiet and serene. But then at the same time, I love being around my team. So, that's not how I want to work all the time. But even if you're in the hotel every day, if you can find a spot to go work in that's just away from your desk, and take your laptop, and you'll be surprised how much you can get done, just be able to focus for a little bit.
Yeah, one of the things in fact, I've got one of it's the 7 habits of a highly productive person is never touch anything twice. And if you're working on something and you've got your attention on it, continue and finish it up. Don't put it to the side, because you switch gears, you're working on something else. It takes you a while to recalibrate yourself and get back on that one task. So I've been trying to be a little bit more diligent on that.
No, that's very important. In the mornings when I come in, I go through all my emails. Even if one's like, oh, I want to tackle this right now, I'm like, no. Action items go to the calendar. And then if it's just a simple question that needs to be answer it. Then once they're all cleared, then start tackling those items one by one, like you said. And once you're on a task, just stick to it. If you have to turn off your email alerts, do it.
Yes, indeed. Now, do you manage your process through a CRM? Obviously there's Delphi, there's Event Temple, there's a lot of different systems. Delphi's, obviously the main process, but that's not necessarily what other salespeople in other industries would refer to as a traditional CRM. Do you use an alternative process like that, or is it manual? Like you said, you just lay things out and kind of go old school?
Well, no, I use the CRM for sure. I put all my info in there. Anytime I touch an account or a booking, the reason why is in there. The action items are more, for day to day. Whereas, someone needs a contract revised or something like that. But once I'm revised that contract, then the copy of the revision and what I did goes into the booking. For me, it's all about the hit by a bus rule. If I get hit by a bus,
right,
anyone can go into all my bookings and they'll know exactly what's happening.
Nice.
And then if something isn't quite in there yet, just look at my calendar. It shows what was going to happen.
Oh, there you go.
And I just think that's important. And also, when you are really busy, you don't want weird tidbits of information in here because you're afraid to forget about them. Put them in the CRM, and then then you can free your
There you go. There you go. Do a brain.
So I'm a huge proponent of that. I just think we can all get lost in kind of the emails, and that's kind of how I manage the emails coming in and just things I need to do day to day. And the RPs that I want to respond to and things like that. But anything that happens, it's always in the booking and in the CRM, because anyone should be able to go in there and look and see what's happening with a group.
Nice.
And the last time I talked to them and what they said, and that should always be there. It's really everyone's information. It belongs to the company.
As we mentioned before, getting overwhelmed, pretty easy to do these days. And I know this often happens with a lot of salespeople that we work with as well. They just don't have time to prospect for business. So what's been your most effective prospecting tip when you have the time to do it?
Really have something to say. Have some reason besides, I'm planning any meetings. It's just so drab. Is have a reason, hey, if it's past bookings, and maybe you're looking and you're saying, hey, there's a lot of activity going on these dates. Give them a call. Are you planning on coming back? Because, I noticed you have these dates and they are getting busy, but I want to give you, the first option to look at them. And then it's a great way to find out if they're having it again, or if they're not, where they're going and what their rhyme or reason is. And, another thing is, hey, we just made up this beautiful space full of artwork. Love for you to come and see it. Lunch anytime. Just things like that. It reminds them that you're here. It shows them that you have new things. When we have the art gallery, we had a lot of events. And so always inviting clients to that. So it's kind of just have something to say. Hey, we have a new team here. I mean, whatever it is, just something is a really good way, especially your clients that you already have and maybe you haven't heard from in a while.
Sure.
And then with new business, especially if it's new business that's happening in the area, for those that maybe use Nolan for prospecting, when you have something cool to show like this gallery, just finding time to prospect those businesses and just like, hey, I know you come into Seattle. I would love for you to come and see our space just to see if it would be something that would work for you. But to have something to show. I mean, a new renovation. I mean, if you have a new renovation and you're just not on the phone constantly, like, I don't know what you're doing, but like, yeah, anything that's just sparkly and new. I mean, if people don't know about it, then why is it here?
Absolutely. For sure. And I'm assuming making it relevant to them, right? Is it of value to them? Sometimes maybe even it is even, I'm sharing our own experiences, is adding value to those prospects, not even asking for the sale, saying, hey, look, I thought you might enjoy our latest blog post on outbound prospecting or sales, not even asking for them at all. I just want to give you value. Let me try to educate you, inspire you, keep you top of mind. Hey, we may or may not do business together, but at least I'm there. I'm trying to help. And hopefully if something comes up and that you need help, I might be able to help you. Then I'm there. I've been there consistently for you. So that's been, it's been things that have worked out pretty well at least for us as well. So.
Yeah. And even if you lose a piece of business to a competitor and maybe, it's a company that's not here in Seattle, just be like, hey, when you're here, I would love to have you come and sync off, have a cup of coffee with me or anything and just see the property, and just show them that you are still interested and engaged and, maybe offering them a little chance to get away from the craziness of their meeting and pop over to where you are and see what you have and just have a glass of wine and tell me how it's been in Seattle so far. All those things, and that's prospecting as well. All those things can really work and make you memorable, to the client.
Right. Actually brought up a good point. And does prospecting have to just obviously connect it with a sale? I think it's about relationship building, right? Small talk, getting to know somebody really well. Oftentimes it's not asking for a piece of business. It could be, hey, this person, I really enjoy this person. They like me. The more I get to have a conversation with them, the more that they understand I'm a good person. I want to help. And just that alone, building that relationship ultimately, hopefully might translate into something down the road, right?
Oh yeah. Nothing better than, even just getting an RFP from someone that you've been prospecting forever, finally sending you something. And, even that is a win, whether you get the business or not. It's just, if you got on someone's radar, wore them down or whatever, and finally inviting you to the table. I mean, that's great too.
Well, that's a good point. You said wear people down because a lot of people don't follow up. It takes 5, they're saying 8 touches now on a new prospect to really get the attention and for somebody to say, I feel comfortable about maybe taking that next step and considering this person in my next sale. And if you're not constantly touching them and consistently, some people give up, right? So just that tenacity and to hang in there and that person goes, wow, at the very least they've been consistent, they haven't dropped off the radar. People tend to disappear oftentimes. Yeah. So, what is your best advice for somebody that right now is in their office, they're looking at their computer screen, they're just going, oh my God, I don't even know how am I going to dig out. It's Friday. I want to relax over the weekend, but I'm so incredibly overwhelmed. What would be your best advice for somebody that just is getting crushed by the enormity of it all?
Well, Well, one thing, I mean, I know it's Friday, but one thing I've always thought is like, I love to start out Mondays as caught up as possible. And I don't want to burn out, like staying really late every night. So sometimes when I'm in, a position where I'm really busy, like Fridays is my day. Like I'm going to burn the midnight oil on Fridays. I'm going to try stay and work as late as possible, because then I will really enjoy my weekend more. Come in Monday with, not anything hanging from the previous week. That's always what I try for when I'm really, really busy. Each other night, do what you can, go home and go with your family, But Fridays, I always try to really, just eke out as much as I can.
That's a great tip, because traditionally, included myself, I kind of like want to coast on Fridays, right? But you're right. And if you clean your plate on the end of Friday, you've got all the weekend, and then you're not coming into Monday just like going, oh my gosh, I love that.
And I find that sometimes Fridays, it's just not a lot going on as far as phone ringing and things like that, because a lot of people are maybe leaving early on Fridays. So it's just a good catch-up day. And sometimes you're not here super late, because you are able to take that quiet time, but it's important to just those quiet moments, just take them and get as much done as you can, and then enjoy your weekend.
Love that. Are you in terms of, I can tell what type of person is by how they manage their inbox, right? So are you a shit show in terms of your inbox? Are you a medium, or are you a zero kind of inbox kind of person?
That's a really great question. My answer might scare some people.
Whoa.
How like, as I told you, where I go through my inbox and just action items, I put them on my calendar, and I read all the emails, and then once they're all read, everything's on my action calendar, I press the big archive button, select all, and archive.
Wow.
I mean, it's Google, we use Google here, and then I can find anything I need. I mean, if it was a document, I put it on my drive. But if it was like, I really want to find this one email, I just pull up the person that sent it. I see all their emails. And that to me is manageable, because, if I try to just, every email goes to a certain box and everything, I mean, I think it's great, but my mind just doesn't work that way. I'm too on the go, too much going on. And for me, but I don't like seeing a big old crazy inbox either. The archive button is my friend. I know it scares some people, but if you are like me and you've never really had a clean inbox, archive is great.
I love that. I haven't heard that before, and we do use Google as well. So I'm gonna have to take another look at that, because I've been striving for not necessarily the zero inbox, but the no scroll inbox, where I could see all of my emails in just on one page. Yes. That seems manageable to me. So this has been an amazing conversation. I could sit here and talk with you for hours, and I want to have you on for the next time. But I appreciate you spending a few minutes with us today.
It's been great, Cory. Great to see you.
Thank you, Teresa. Thank you so much. Take care.
You too.